Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Ramadimurtishu kala niyamena tishtan Dhanavataram akarotu vaneshu kintu Krishna swayam samabhavat paramapumanyo Govindamadi purusham tamaham bhajami. Lord Brahma sings in his Brahma Samhita, Ramadi murtishu kala niyamena tishtan. Ramadi, Ram, and so on and so forth. These are, according to Brahma's realization, Kala Vishesh, a portion of the Supreme Person. Niyamena Tishtan, they come regularly. And Srila Prabhupada's Guru, spiritual master, Om Vishnupad Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur, he translates this as scheduled incarnations. Like you go to the airport and you check out your number, it says the flight is scheduled. Not arrived yet, but scheduled. So the incarnations of the Supreme Person, they come as per schedule. They come regularly. Kala niyamena tishtam. Nana avataram. Many such incarnations are there. I think yesterday we were discussing why only 10 incarnations are called Dashavatar. No, not yesterday. This Wednesday we had a satsang. And so many of you are from India and you have heard how many incarnations Vishnu takes? How many? 10. No. The Bhagavatam says, Avataro hi asankhya Hare sattva nidhe dvija Yathavadasina kulya sarasyasu sahasrasha. As we draw here, there is a lake. And on every lake you see ripples, waves caused by the wind or by other forces. Can you count how many waves? No. So just like in a stream has so many waves or rivulets or a ripples on a lake, that many incarnations are existing. Don't just think only 10. Why should God, who is unlimited, have only 10? So Nana Avataram Akarot Bhuvaneshu Kintu. Kintu is a qualifier. It's like everybody here is from New Jersey. Kintu, he has come from New York. That's a qualifier. So these are all scheduled incarnations. Kintu Krishna Swayam Samabhavat Parama Pumanyo. Krishna is the source of all these incarnations. Govindam Adi Purusham. Such is the primeval Lord, Govinda, whom I adore. Now one day one devotee lady just frankly told me that I have to make a confession. Lord Ram, he looks so sincere, straightforward, likable. Not that Krishna is not likable, but Krishna a little bit crooked and a little bit twisted, and you can't trust that guy. He steals and cheats and does so many things, and then he manipulates. And like those who read the Mahabharata, they feel that Mahabharata is after 25 years in the movement, I decided to make the plunge and say that I will read the Mahabharata. So Gita Press Gorakhpur in India is a famous publisher, and they say, oh, we have a set available. So I went and checked at their office, 6 thick volumes, and it's my TBR, to be read list. I don't know when it will come. Right now these BBT works, tasks are still there, but it's a goal inside. So I'm reading the Mahabharata concise, the Mahabharata retold, the Mahabharata, the pocket Mahabharata. So, reading the Mahabharata, Krishna's personality is not that it shines forth in the beginning, and suddenly in the Bhagavad Gita, here he comes. I am everything. Oh Arjuna, I am the beginning and the middle and the end of everything. Everything comes from me. Everybody is my servant. Surrender unto me. And sometimes our mentality is, well, I mean, just because you just come and say surrender to me. Ram doesn't say like that. He is like the ideal son, the ideal warrior, the ideal friend, the ideal foe, the ideal administrator, ideal husband, ideal brother. Sometimes you feel like, hey man, do something. Don't just fall in for anything and everything. The world will walk over you. Friends, there is a reason why Ram behaves in a particular way and why Krishna behaves in a particular way. It's not like Ram is straightforward and Krishna is a little bit twisted. No. There are three Purushottamas. Purusha, person, Uttama, the best, transcendental, or the highest. Various connotations come. Ram is called, anyone knows? Maryada Purushottama. Now what could that mean? What could it mean? Within limits. Okay, you are getting close. Who has put those limits?
God himself.
That's the point. Correct. Nobody except he can say that these are the limits. Now if you say, if I tell Prabhu, come to India, sorry Prabhu, no leave. I say, kick that boss and kick that job. So, don't even say that. I have my limits. So we may be anybody. We may be the president of the most powerful nation in the world for 4 years, mercifully or whatever. But after that, you can't control. So the voters have put their limits. Somebody is beautiful, somebody is powerful, somebody is knowledgeable. Age takes away everything. Ayur harati vaikumsam. The sun setting and the sun rising, it's an automatic thing going on. But the Bhagavatam says, are you noticing that every sunset and sunrise is stealing away your age? Ayur harati is stealing away. You don't realize it. So we all have limits. But Maryada Purushottam, the limits put on by the Supreme Person, are by his own. It's a favorite word of mine. It's an old English word called volition, by choice. If Ram is Maryada Purushottam, what is Krishna then? Leela Purushottam. What is Leela, by the way? Can you and me have Leelas? If yes, why? And if no, why not? Can we have Leelas? She's my judge, by the way. She also guides me and corrects me.
To go, man.
We can't have Leela. The jury is saying here, we can't have Leelas. Why we can't have our own Leelas? Sorry?
We have to face the consequences of that leela.
Face the consequences. Leelas don't have consequences. Leela is fun.
Oh.
We have a limitation.
We have limitation. You and me, we didn't choose our parents. We didn't choose our looks. Sorry to say that, but we could have a slightly taller, shorter, fatter, thinner, or the nose could be a little bit like that, or a little bit here, but no, it doesn't happen like that. Why? Because the Gita explains, we are forced by our karma in a particular body. The Bhagavatam goes even more deeper. It says, Karmana daiva netrena jantur upapattaya striya pravishta udaram purushore takanashraya. Karmana daiva netrena, your own work and supervision. And they force you. When Leela, simple word, sometimes we say his Leela, her Leela, but basically Leela means it has to be free. It has to be a play. There cannot be any loss in Leela. I can playfully swipe somebody's pocket, somebody's wallet, and I say I cheated him of $10,000. So I am the one who gains. Is he also laughing and smiling? Ha ha ha, today I lost 10,000. No! If a thief comes and steals something, you report to the police. But in Braja, every gopi is secretly hoping Gopal comes to my home and steals the butter. And Yashodama is saying, why you have to go and eat butter at others' place? Don't we have any butter at our place? And he says, yeah, I know, but I like it. And the other gopis would come and say, Yashoda, why don't you train your child? If he's just a thief, not only is a thief, he's a liar. That day I caught him with his hand in the butter pot. And he says, my mom puts such ornaments, they make it so hot, I'm just trying to cool them. Why should I steal? Do you know my father's a rich guy? We have 900,000 cows. Why should I steal butter from your place? So Yashodama used to say, why don't you lock everything? Why don't you keep the butter pot at some dark place? They say, your kids, Krishna and Balaram, their bodies are so effulgent. He says, oh, because the jewels I put there. So they remove the jewels. Their bodies are still effulgent. Krishna's body, by the way, the Acharya is saying, Bhushana Bhushanangam. The ornaments become glorified by sitting on Krishna's limbs. Normally when we put some jewelry, they say, oh, this necklace looks so nice. Be careful, they are saying the necklace looks so nice. They're not exactly saying you look nice. So we are forced, we take birth by our karma and we are controlled by the three modes. Krishna doesn't have to be controlled. Krishna says, Tribhir gunamir bhavenevi sarvam idam jagat mohitam nabhijanati mamebhya param avyayam. I am param, I am not controlled by this. So Leela is play. So Ramayana is play. The Mahabharata, total Mahabharata is not play. Only Krishna Leela is that play. 10th canto is all play. All Leela. There is a class of transcendentalists. They call themselves transcendentalists, but they are envious. And we have a lot of them in India. They come as spiritual teachers, spiritual gurus, they write books. But they are also envious. And their main thing is, God also is bound by the laws of His own making. We say no. What He does is Leela. Then what I do also is Leela. We say no. What you have is karma. Alright, then he also suffers karma. So this is the philosophical tussle going on between the Vaishnavas and the impersonalists. There is a incident of a man arguing with a ISKCON preacher that I am God. He said, oh, what do you mean you are God? So they went back and forth, they discussed so many things. After 15 minutes he said, alright, how do I find the restroom here? He said, if you're God, figure it out yourself. So he said, okay, jokes apart, I really need to use it. He said, no, I'm not going to tell you. If you're God, you find out yourself. After 10 more minutes, he said, I really need to understand. Please tell me where the restroom is. This is all right. Go down one flight on your left. So he came back. So he said, so God knows everything. And you could go and find out where the restroom is in this facility. So admit that you are not God. Who are you? He says, I am God. He said, just now you couldn't even find a restroom. He said, that's my Leela. So the conclusion is, in an impure state, we want to understand, why can't I become God? And that's why we become like Ravana. With some power, we think we can outsmart Ram. We can defeat him. And the Ravana mentality is, do a lot of austerity. Suffer now, party later. That's what it is. And when you're suffering, oh, it is such suffering. Like we talk about chanting every day and serving here and spring cleaning and all that stuff. By the way, it was not suffering. People were so joyful. And then you gave those bonanzas, gifts. I'm sure next year, before spring, you could have a waiting list of volunteers. Very nice idea. Very nice atmosphere. So, suffer now and party later. That's what is the motto of individuals like Ravana. What do you achieve after you do that tapasya? No one can kill me. No one can defeat me. And then I enjoy. Now at least in a college program, I asked somebody, if Ravana offered you employment, would you take it? He said, I would love to see the agreement. What kind of pay, what kind of perks. In fact, one preacher, he told his flock, his congregation, that I have 2 wooden boxes and they have 2 murtis in it. Anyone would like to take them home for puja. You have to buy them and you can use them for puja. So there is a murti of Ram and there is a murti of Ravana. Now people were pious and they said, wow, why would you buy a murti of Ravana? I think all of you would also agree, why would you take a murti of Ravana? And then he added an addendum saying that Ram's murti is made from wood, Ravana is made from pure gold. Oh, some are thinking, really? Pure gold? Are you sure? 1 kilogram pure gold? Let me see, maybe now that the mind starts going to having different ideas. I already have a murti of Ram at my place. I have a nice picture. So maybe I can use Ravana's murti and melt it and make something for me. So Ravana, there is no offer by the way, it's just to make you understand. So Ravana, after he got so much of power, he just looked at the universe and said, I need not be killed by Brahma, Vishnu, Mahesh, or this or that. The only species he kind of neglected were humans and monkeys. He said, I eat them raw for breakfast. Why should I bother about it? No, literally, Ravana was a cannibal. For him, flesh and blood was nothing abhorrent for him. So this is the Srishti Chakra. Dvabhuta sarge lokesmin daiva asura evacha Vishnu bhakta svato daiva asuryasta viparyaya. You may say, why do these asuras and why do these rakshasas, why are they born? Why can't everybody be nice and kind, be good, do good, the world will be good to you? The Bhagavatam says, no, it doesn't happen like that. We all have ways of getting affected by the three modes, and then it's like an infection, Prabhupada said. Infected with the mode of ignorance, you have to act ignorantly, passionately, goodness in goodness. And by the way, this verse gives the definition of those who are Vishnu Bhakta Smrito Deva. All of you are here in Vishnu's temple. You want to become Vishnu Bhakta, that's the way of becoming godly. And simply put, Asurya, the other party, anti-party, they don't have a definition. Asurya is Viparyaya. Those who are not Vishnu Bhakta come in that category. So, Ravana went and did so much of conquest. His palace was like a museum. Srila Prabhupada was once asked to visit the British Museum in London. He said, British Museum means stolen property. This went all over the world. So this is from Tipu Sultan, this is from Shivaji, this is from North India, this is from South India. So, I mean, they were good conquerors, by the way. But that museum just meant everything's taken from these places. So Ravana's palace was like that. Aditi's earrings, Varuna's earplane, and all this bevy of wonderful beauties. Some of them actually were attracted to him, some of them were forced, some of them their fathers were given some dowry. But they were all living happy in one sense, because it was party night, day and night. And that was a time when Ravana was told by his sister, Shurpa Nakha. Nakha is nails, Shurpa is a winnow. So every nail like this size. And she wanted to marry Ram. Give up this horrible looking creature. She's looking at Sita and telling, give her up. And Ram says, well, I am married. Lakshmana is not without a wife. We can accept one. She goes to him and says, accept me, O prince. He said, look, even if I marry you, you will be under Sita, you will be her servant. So better you marry Ram. So like a ping pong ball, they just kept on. And finally she said, so Sita is the one who is the cause of my stopping my enjoyment. And as she went to grab her and kill her, Ram said, Lakshman, enough of this charade. Chop off her nose and ears. And within a moment, Lakshman chops off her nose and ears. Horrible. She already was horrible looking. And she goes to Ravana and he says, look at what this Ram and Lakshman did to me. They were humans, we didn't bother. So finally she used the last card. His wife is so beautiful. Actually, she is fit for you. And that sparked a small interest. Oh, me? I have. Don't you know? My palace, so many beauties. He said, that's nothing. And for Ravana, life was, if I have something, it is mine. If you have something which I like, it is mine. Plain and simple. So that's how we went to see Sita. Then anybody planned to kidnap her. Now, while reading the Ramayana, you have to bear those things in mind. If you say, oh, it's all Leela, that means there is no suffering. That's not true. But the suffering is not the suffering of yours and mine. It is rasa, karuna rasa. So, one Acharya says, if Ramayana was full of suffering, why would Hanuman all the time keep on reading it? So for millennia, devotees have read Ramayana and have experienced such happiness in their heart. They are crying. It is tragic, but there is enjoyment. Once, my spiritual teacher gave an example that just like people go for a tragic movie, so along with the ticket, you also buy a box of Kleenex. And they decide how good the movie was depending upon how many tissues you used. Oh, it was a real tearjerker. And but I felt so good. Why? Because Karuna, tragedy, is a rasa. Gives you that. And of course, those from India, you know the Saas Bahus, so popular. Saas bhi kabhi bahu thi, or doodh bhi kabhi chhas tha. And so many different kinds of things they make. And those stories happen in every household, but you still watch it on TV. And you are saying, oh, it depends on whose side you're on. If you are the mother-in-law type, you feel the daughter-in-law is actually making mistake. And you're the daughter-in-law type, you feel the mother-in-law is atrocious. We won't go into that because we know that's karma. We don't want to go into karma, we want to go to Leela. So, Sita is kidnapped. Sugriva, Rama's friend, he said, dispatches 4 different groups, east, west, north, so many different groups. South is Hanuman's party. And they are told, 1 month, if you don't come back, I'll kill you. And especially Hanuman is favored by Lord Ram also, so he gives him a ring, Mudrika. He says, if you find Sita, this is how you can tell her that you have come from me. So, it's a long story. Hanuman somehow comes to know through Sampati, the brother of Jatayu, that I saw a fairest of fair maiden being carried on a chariot carried by donkeys, and there was a hideous looking person. She was very, she was crying out and she dropped something. So this is what we have. So many pointers showed the way to Lanka, and Angada, Jambavan and others, they were thinking, who can go, who can jump? It is 800 miles there. So finally Angada, who is the most strongest, he said, I can manage a jump, but I don't know whether I can manage to come back. And all the while, Hanuman is just, they say, Hanuman, what about you? Hanuman didn't say anything about jumping and coming back. You know why?
Because he got a curse
Because he got a curse.
that he would remember his powers.
He won't remember his powers. Why?
Because he was naughty.
Because he was naughty. Yeah, he was so naughty. Hare Krishna. He was so naughty in the beginning that the rishis and munis who were staying there in the ashram, they loved him so much. Anjana's young child, but he was so mischievous. So they put a curse on him. You will forget all about your powers. And then he became a well-behaved boy. Very well behaved. Till the time others don't remind you. So, the Sri Vaishnava Sampradaya, they really relish Ramayana like anything. And some of the Acharya, they have given extensive comments. They say in one way, you and me, the conditioned soul is like that. We are not aware of our own powers. We utilize our powers in this material world. We try to do so much, but the end is the bitter fruit of disappointment comes in our plate. Then you are anybody, tinker, tailor, soldier, sailor, whoever you are. In the end you say, my life was just disappointment. We need someone to tell us what our powers are. So Shastra, Guru, Sadhu, Shastra, they kind of remove that curse. Hey, you're not meant to loiter here. You're meant to have a body which is eternal, which is blissful and all knowledge. So after repeatedly made to understand, then our Hanuman-like thing grows up. So Hanuman became big. He jumped. He went to Lanka. So many things happened. I'm skipping because we have to go to Sita Sandesh. At the doorstep, he found one woman. She was guarding. And she said, halt! Can't come inside. Hanuman said, oh really? I need to go inside. And I am not that kind of brahmachari who insults women. Okay? I have been taught how to properly respect them. She says, no way. And then started fighting with him. So, boom! He gave her one blow. And she said, oh my God. I was told that till a time comes when a monkey comes and knocks me down, till that time Lanka will be prosperous. So now I think this is the beginning of the end of Lanka. So he goes inside. How many Rakshasas were living in Lanka, by the way? Just a guess. 100 crores. And how many monkeys were dispatched to fight against Ravana?
18 billion.
10 raised to 20, 10 raised to 65 zeros. Someone told me, I am not a mathematician, don't ask me.
It is 18 billion. It's mentioned in the Sundarkand.
Okay. So this is one estimate. This is also from some Sri Vaishnava calculation. So we had a statistics expert yesterday, correct? So we asked her, how much is 10 raised to 65? She said a lot. And I fully agree. That's a lot to count. So Hanuman is searching. She's here, she's there, she's there, she's there. At one point of time, he says, what am I doing? I'm looking at each and every lounge, each and every room, and looking at others' wives. Why should I? Is that an offense? I am a brahmachari, it's not polite. And then he regroups his thoughts. He says, no! My intent, my content, and my consciousness, they are all pure. Sometimes people say, how do you say that this particular, like Narad Muni cursed the sons of Kubera? Or sometimes devotees act in this way or that way. It doesn't give a license for you and me to act in any kind of way. But when we see some great souls doing that, so Mahabharata has this 3-pointed test. Look at the intent. Sometimes the intent is not clear. Look at the content. The content is very clear. Somebody is very violent or whatever. And then look at the consciousness. If the whole thing is pure, only then that particular act is bona fide or justified. So Hanuman is saying that I have a pure mind. I am looking for a woman. Where else can I find a woman? Where women are like located, right? If I have to find a woman, I have to go to a place where women are located. What can I do? So therefore, me looking at others' wives is not sinful. At least one troubling thought in his mind got over. And then another thought came. No, Sita will never on her own agree to come and stay in this kind of a room here. She has to be somewhere else. That's the point. I made a mistake. I should not have seen Sita here. So where can I go? So now he says, for sure, Sita is not in the palace of Ravana. She will never ever agree on her own volition to be there. So then, this is Ramayana. As I said, it's a Leela. But this is something which you guys are building a temple here. Project management, always a difficult thing. It's always difficult. Bringing something from scratch. Sometimes there is depression, sometimes elation, sometimes happiness, sometimes sorrow, sometimes half everything. What are we doing? Do you think Prabhupada's coming to America was an easy thing? 40 years keeping this project in his heart? 3 heart attacks on the way. Most of us would have said, I mean, I'm doing everything for him and why is he not helping me even? So, Raman explains, Hanuman was very depressed. Maybe she's dead. Maybe I may never be able to see her. But then why there is something in my heart which keeps saying that, push on, push on, push on. So he gives us the hint that if your intent is pure, if what you are doing is approved by Guru Sadhu Shastra, from inside you get guidance. And then he thought that she maybe died, maybe she died out of fear while being carried to Lanka, maybe Ravana dropped her, maybe she wriggled free and fell in the ocean, maybe she was devoured by Ravana. If I go back, Ram may give up his life. Seeing Ram giving up his life, Lakshman may give up his life. If Lakshman gives up his life, Bharat and Shatrugna there in Ayodhya will give up their life. If the 4 sons gone, the 3 mothers may give up their life. Angada, Sugriva, they will give up their life. No way, I cannot return. It will be a big, big calamity if I go back empty-handed. I'll commit suicide. Now this is not just a thought of a deranged person. He's a pure devotee. His suicide is not because he lost something in love or lost his money or lost a job or whatever. It's a pure desire to serve Ram. Maybe I will kill Ravana. These are all the thoughts. I will kill Ravana, drag him to Rama and offer his heads as an offering to Lord Shiva. So, as Hanuman was thinking in this way, suddenly he saw a large grove of Ashoka trees. He said, I never noticed this. Maybe there is some hint over there. So he went there, and there he found one woman. She was dirty, clothes were dirty, worn out. The yellow cloth was very fine, but she had such fear on her face. She was constantly shedding tears. She was constantly in anxiety. And especially for those who are the poetic minded, just see what exquisite poetry Valmiki Muni composes. Hanuman saw Sita like a sacred text misinterpreted, like wealth squandered, like faith shattered, hope frustrated, ideals impeded, intellect corrupted, or fame blackened. This is how Bharatvarsha people used to relish the Leelas of Ram and Krishna. Then the moon rose. Hanuman is still behind the trees. And all kinds of hideous looking Rakshasis, they came there. Some had one eye, some had one ear, some had all ears, some had a big belly, some had 1 foot, 1 hand, all kinds of really contorted, distorted features. And they came and started threatening. And then Ravana comes. Ravana comes with 100 girls singing, they're offering chamaras, it's a big procession. He says, Sita, I told you, become my wife. Immediately Sita looks like a leaf caught in a storm. She takes a dry blade of grass and puts it between him and Ravana so that even notionally they should be in touch between his words and mine or his presence and mine. There is some kind of a barrier between both of us. He says, the moment I saw you, I don't know why, but I've lost all taste for all other wives and they're all very beautiful. It's a fact. The Supreme Lord's consort is his Lakshmi. And Lakshmi is always very beautiful. We in India, at least in Diwali, we do Lakshmi Puja. What does Lakshmi do? She's standing like this. And what's happening from this palm? Pure State Bank of India, 99% gold coins are pouring forth like anything. And she's only Lakshmi we know. So we say, please don't leave our home, stay here, be my guest. But she's a chaste Vedic lady. In Vedic times, you can't WhatsApp a girl saying that please come and meet me, or there is no meetup app or something. It's considered very impolite for someone to ask a girl or a woman to just be at my place and don't bring your husband, okay? That's the Ravana mentality. So the Acharyas say, what you should do is ask the husband. Ask Narayan, will you come and stay at our home? We would like to offer you our lives. We'll offer you some bhajans. He gladly comes. And when he comes, his wife is knocking at the door. Will you allow me to serve my husband? Sure. So please never commit this mistake of thinking that If I just ask the wife to come, she will come and I don't need to bother about the husband. That's what Ravana did. So, she said, no way. There is one sentence there in Valmiki's Ramayana which really astounded me. When Sita is arguing with Ravana, she said, I can destroy you by my mystic power. Like tomorrow, Brajman Prabhu will be taking on the strength of Sita. Normally, Sita is seen as a abala, poor woman, what she can do, she was tortured this way, that way. There are so many unanswered questions about the Ramayana because people read Ramayana which is not written by authorities. The current norm in India is everybody becomes an authority. Would you like to get operated by somebody who has just read surgery books? Please come next Friday. My chance to operate on you. So when you won't get your material body operated, why do you get your brains operated by somebody who has written books just because he knows something and he has no parampara? So, Jai Shri Gopalnath Ji, Shri Govinda, Shri Ram, Shri Bhaktaman, Shri Shri. Can I have 5 minutes more?
Yeah.
Yes.
Sure? Okay. So, Ravana begs her, become mine, become mine, become mine. Finally, when everything fails, he says, no way, I give you 2 months. I will personally chop you and eat you for breakfast. And that time Sita knows that he is serious about it. So he goes back and Hanuman now thinks I have to do things in a very, very cautious way. You see how Valmiki reveals Hanuman's mindset. He says, immediately go before her. Guess what will she think if Hanuman goes before her? This is Ravana come in disguise. So he says, if I start speaking in Sanskrit, she will wonder that monkey is speaking in Sanskrit. So he said, I will speak the dialect of Ayodhya. You know, every region has its own dialect, so I will use that. But then still, so he's having all these thoughts, and when he's totally confounded, he does one thing which we are all supposed to do. He starts singing Ram's glories. So they say, if at any point of time the stock market goes alright, or the weather goes berserk, or your life goes in a haywire, Krishna Kirtan, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Long ago, there was this Sun dynasty. The best of this dynasty was a king named Dashrath. He had 4 sons. Among them, Ram was the senior most. His wife was Sita. Lakshmana was their servitor. Bharat and Chaturna also loved Ram so much. So he began singing, and Sita was thinking, am I dreaming? But somebody is singing so sweetly. And then, poof, the small murti of Hanuman jumps in front of her. She says, you were singing Ram Katha? Yes. I am Hanuman. I am an emissary. I am sent by Ram. And as he is discussing, Sita is so happy. She is saying, I can't be dreaming because all these months I haven't slept. She didn't sleep 1 wink. How can I when Ram is not here? And she sees Hanuman inching closer. Stop! I know who you are Ravana. He says, no, I am not. And she faints. After some time, she says, but my left thigh, my left arm, my left eye, they were throbbing. They are all very auspicious signs. And he was singing about Ram. Are you Ravana? He says, no, I'm going to defeat him. I'm going to take you right now. I can carry you back. And he's promising her. Sita says no. Now why does she say no? Should he just jump on his back and come back? She says, that's the glory of my Lord Ram. I normally will never suffer the touch of any other person except my husband. But somebody might say, but you did. Ravana carried you. He said, that's not with my choice. So now I won't do that. So then Hanuman shows her the ring. And then Ram, 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 Ram. Again she goes into trance. So Hanuman then tells her, tell me what I should do. Again that fear that there is not much time left, Hanuman. Ravana can kill me anytime. So Hanuman says, no, that won't happen. And there is one thing which I would like to highlight here. When Sita asks Hanuman, you are so tiny and you think you will defeat Ravana? He says, just because I'm a monkey and just because I'm like that, she thinks I'm so puny. And he shows his gigantic form. And she says, oh yes, now I understand. You can do that. Now some of us in our temples, we are Hanumans and we do a lot. And here is what Hanuman, the real Hanuman tells her, Devi, I'm just one soldier in Sugriva's army. I can assure you, every other Vanara is either equal or better than me. Just see the humility. And then Sita tells him a story how Indra's son attacked her, because that's a very confidential thing. And Ram then defeated that foe. He also attacked him. And finally she says, there is one more story. If Lord Ram asks you that whether you really met Sita or not. One day when the ornaments on my face were kind of getting depleted, Lord Ram took some red mineral oxide found in the forest and he decorated me personally with that. So both Ram and Lakshman, they give him confidential incidents or some objects just to show that he is a proper emissary. And then Sita says, now I am happy. Very soon Ram will come. And Hanuman then thinks that maybe before leaving, I will give Ravana a taste. Just a screensaver of what exactly is going to come. And he tells her that I'm going to burn this whole Lanka. She says, okay, I will pray to the fire god to keep your tail safe. If at all fire engulfs you, it should not burn you. And in this way, there is a very small segment of Ramayana. It is filled with so many of the emotions which really, that's what it is. You and me can easily identify sometimes with the depressed Ram, the depressed Hanuman, the depressed Sita. But the funny thing is, if one guy is depressed, one party is depressed, the other says, come on. The goal is not that far, come on. And that's what is the value of a Vaishnava community. One day you may be enthusiastic, one day you may be not. And when you are, that's the time you have to see one who is not and share that enthusiasm. Not because it's your property, because you also got it from others. So, I wish you all a very blissful festival tomorrow. Hopefully you will have a nice time hearing Ram Katha. And I thank you from the bottom of my heart for allowing me to come here and share this Ram Katha with you. Thank you very much. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.